listening to the testimony today, it all sounds really familiar. I am here to talk about a possible link between radiation and mind control experimentation that began in the late 1940s. The main reason that mind control research is being mentioned is because people are alleging that they were exposed as children to mind control, radiation, drugs, and chemical experimentation, which were administered by the same doctors who are known to have been involved in conducting both radiation and mind control research. Written documentation has been provided revealing the names of people and the names of research projects in statements from people across the country. It is also important to understand that mind control techniques and follow-ups into adulthood may have been used to intimidate these particular research subjects into not talking about their victimization in government research. As a therapist for the past 22 years, I have specialized in treating victims and perpetrators of trauma and their families. When word got out that I was appearing at this hearing, nearly 40 therapists across the country, and I had about a week and a half to prepare, contacted me to talk about clients who had reported being subjects in radiation and mind control experiments. The consistency of people's stories about the purpose of the mind control and pain induction techniques such as electric shock, use of hallucinogens, sensory deprivation, hypnosis, dislocation of limbs, and sexual abuse is remarkable. There is almost nothing published on this aspect of mind control used with children, and these clients come from all over the country having had no contact with each other. What was startling was that therapists reported many of these clients were also physically ill with autoimmune problems, thyroid problems, multiple sclerosis, and other muscle and connective tissue diseases, as well as mysterious ailments for which a diagnosis cannot be found. While somatization disorder is commonly found in these clients, many of the clients who've been involved in the human experimentation with the government have multiple medically documented physical ailments. And I was really shocked today to hear one of the speakers talk about the cysts and the teeth breaking off, because I have a client that that's happening to. Many people are afraid to tell their doctors their histories as mind control subjects for fear of being considered to be crazy. These clients have named some of the same people, particularly a Dr. Green, who was associated with clients' reports of childhood induction of pain, mind control techniques, and childhood sexual abuse. One of my clients who had seen him with a name tag identified him as Dr. L. Wilson Green. A person with this same name was the scientific director of the chemical and radiological laboratories at the Army Chemical Center, and that he was engaged in doing research for the Army and other intelligence agencies. Other names that have come to light are Dr. Sidney Gottlieb and Dr. Martin Orn, who it is reported were also involved in radiation research. It needs to be made clear that people have remembered these names and events spontaneously, with free recall, and without the use of any memory retrieval techniques such as hypnosis. As much as possible, we have tried to verify the memories with family members, records, and experts in the field. Many attempts have been made through Freedom of Information Act filings to gain access to the mind control research documentation. These requests have generally been slowed down or denied, although some information has been obtained, which suggests that at least some of the information supplied by these clients is true. It is important that we obtain all of the information contained in the CIA and military files to verify or deny our clients' memories. Although many of the files for MK Ultra may have been destroyed, whatever is left, along with the files for other projects, such as Bluebird and Artichoke, to name only two, contain valuable information. Furthermore, if, as the evidence suggests, some of these people were used in radiation experiments, there might be information in the mind control experiment files on radiation experiments. We need this information to help in the rehabilitation and treatment of many people who have severe psychological and medical problems which interfere with their social, emotional, and financial well-being. Finally, I urge you to recommend an investigation into these matters. Although there was a commission on mind control, it did not include experiments on children because most of them were too young or still involved in the research in the late 1970s to come forward. The only way to end the harassment and suffering of these people is to make public what has happened to them in the mind control experiments. Please recommend that there be an investigation and that the files be opened on the mind control experiments as they related to children. Thank you. And good afternoon.
Yo, you know say yo, take one. I don't say I am city. Alright, come on this. See you know. Hacemos cada día por ser algo más fuertes. Luchamos contra los que dicen que los defienden. Nos roban a la cara y tratan como dementes. Y buscan que esta vida no la hacemos a suertes. Hacemos cada día por ser algo más fuertes. Luchamos contra los que dicen que nos defienden. Nos roban a la cara y tratan como dementes. Y buscan que esta vida no la hacemos a suertes.
Mentira, la vida se ha marchado como un tren. Al final quedaste solo esperando en el andén. ¿Quién los cree? La tele contamina a nuestras gentes y Dios es un invento para controlar las mentes. Mienten, provocarán las guerras, te enseñarán el lujo pero nunca las miserias. Quieren gobernar con las leyes del odio. Invaden un país para llevarse el petróleo. Nos contaron que el hombre pisó la luna, que el cáncer y el sida tienen cerca una vacuna. Todo es un engaño de la industria farmacéutica. Fácil, recortar pensiones al frágil. No te fíes de nadie, las palabras mueren. Cuanto más te roban, mucho más quieren. El gobierno dice que el final está cerca y solo vemos paro y familias en la cuerda.
Hacemos cada día por ser algo más fuertes. Luchamos contra los que dicen que nos defienden. Nos roban a la cara y tratan como dementes. Y buscan que esta vida no la hacemos a suertes. Hacemos cada día por ser algo más fuertes. Luchamos contra los que dicen que nos defienden. Nos roban a la cara y tratan como dementes. Y buscan que esta vida no la hacemos a suertes.
Todo es mentira, con mi libreta veo pasar la vida. Están jugando a Dios y nunca acaba la partida. Relato lo que veo en este mundo y no termina. Familias que no llegan y no encuentran la salida. ¿Quién nos castiga? Muere la sanidad, la educación y si te quejas te esquivan. ¿Qué futuro tienen nuestros hijos si el poder nos obliga a competir a muerte por un plato de comida? Mira en las calles de tu barrio, los padres de familia que luchan por un salario. La muerte está escondida en los días del calendario. Muchos se sienten solos en las gradas de un estadio. Digo lo que pienso cuando subo a un escenario. Traigo el mensaje, para mí es necesario. No te fíes de nadie porque todo es mentira. Los de arriba mandan pero todo es mentira.
Hacemos cada día por ser algo más fuertes. Luchamos contra los que dicen que nos defienden. Nos roban a la cara y tratan como dementes. Y buscan que esta vida no la hacemos a suertes. Hacemos cada día por ser algo más fuertes. Luchamos contra los que dicen que nos defienden. Nos roban a la cara y tratan como dementes. Y buscan que esta vida no la hacemos a suertes.
La subida del IVA es contraproducente porque es un nuevo jarro de agua fría en una economía que ya está congelada.
Yo le voy a meter la tijera a todo, salvo a las pensiones públicas y luego, aunque sea competencia de las comunidades autónomas, la sanidad y la educación, donde no quiero recortar los derechos de los ciudadanos.
Lo que no podemos es estar un día diciendo una cosa al día siguiente diciendo la contraria.
prometo seriedad.
This report I received today is a monumental document in more ways than one. But it is a very, very important piece of America's history, and it will shape America's future in ways that will make us a more honorable, more successful, and more ethical country. What this committee learned, I would like to review today with a little more detail than Dr. Fraden said, because I think it must be engraved on our national memory. Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. The goal was to understand the effects of radiation exposure on the human body. While most of the tests were ethical by any standards, some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted. They failed both the test of our national values and the test of humanity. Informed consent means your doctor tells you the risk of the treatment you are about to undergo. In too many cases, informed consent was withheld. Americans were kept in the dark about the effects of what was being done to them. The deception extended beyond the test subjects themselves to encompass their families and the American people as a whole. For these experiments were kept secret, and they were shrouded not for a compelling reason of national security, but for the simple fear of embarrassment, and that was wrong. So today, on behalf of another generation of American leaders and another generation of American citizens, the United States of America offers a sincere apology to those of our citizens who were subjected to these experiments, to their families, and to their communities. When the government does wrong, we have a moral responsibility to admit it. The duty we owe to one another to tell the truth and to protect our fellow citizens from excesses like these is one we can never walk away from. Our government failed in that duty, and it offers an apology to the survivors and their families, and to all the American people who must be able to rely upon the United States to keep its word, to tell the truth, and to do the right thing. Make no mistake, as the committee report says, there are circumstances where compensation is appropriate as a matter of ethics and principle. I am committed to seeing to it that the United States of America lives up to its responsibility. Our greatness is measured not only in how we so frequently do right, but also how we act when we know we've done the wrong thing, how we confront our mistakes, make our apologies, and take action. That's why this morning I signed an executive order instructing every arm and agency of our government that conducts, supports, or regulates research involving human beings to review immediately their procedures in light of the recommendations of this report and the best knowledge and standards available today, and to report back to me by Christmas.